My 8-year-old son came home bruised and said, "They know where we live." Hey Cheating Tales lab viewers, where in the world are you tuning in from? We want to know. Keep us posted. Let's jump right into today's story. Chapter 1. As autumn rain hammered the Wiggins home, Matthew sat in his study, diving into quarterly reports from his construction company, BY35. He transformed Wiggins Construction from the ground up into one of Denver's top firms. His calloused, scarred hands gripped the paper tight as thunder rumbled above. The front door banged shut, snapping him out of his focus. Fast, frantic footsteps raced down the hallway, a stark contrast to Ashley's usual elegant pace. Matthew's brow furrowed at the sound of his 8-year-old son Peter's frantic, high-pitched voice. "Dad, Dad, where are you?" Matthew sprang from his leather chair, sensing the urgency in his boy's voice. Peter stormed into the study, sending Matthew's heart racing. His son's left eye was nearly shut, dark purple bruises spreading across his cheek. Blood caked beneath his nose, his school clothes ripped and filthy. "Wow, Peter, what on earth happened to you?" Matthew knelt beside his son, swiftly assessing the injuries with hands that had known their share of violence in the past. Peter's good eye flicked to the windows, then shot to the door. "Dad, we have to move houses right now." His voice shook, yet an unsettling maturity in his tone sent chills down Matthew's spine. "Take it easy, kid. Give me the details. What went down? Who did this?" Peter shook his head furiously. "No time to waste. They've got our address now. We need to pack up and escape to a place where they won't track us down." He clutched Matthew's shirt with frantic fists. Matthew's instincts, sharpened in Denver's tough neighborhoods, kicked in. This was no ordinary schoolyard brawl. Peter saw something that shook him to his core, compelling them to escape their home immediately. "Who knows where we live, Peter? Give me the details of what went down." Peter skipped the answer and whipped out his small smartphone, the one Ashley had pushed him to buy despite Matthew's doubts. The boy's hands trembled as he unlocked it and passed it to his father. "I got it on tape, Dad." Hiding behind the equipment shed, I caught their conversation. Matthew grabbed the phone, his instincts as a construction worker kicking in. He knew this was a moment that would shift everything. He hit play on the video, and chills shot down his spine. Shaky footage revealed two figures by the school's maintenance building. A woman with Ashley's unmistakable auburn hair and a tall man Matthew didn't know. He heard bits and pieces. Husband, problem, permanent solution, insurance, kid saw us. The camera jolted as Peter shifted for a better angle. And in an instant, the man faced the lens. Matthew's jaw tightened as he locked eyes with the ruggedly handsome face, cold gray eyes hinting at violence. The man zeroed in on Peter's hiding spot. "Look, it's the kid?" Chaos erupted as Peter sprinted, but he managed to catch the man's words. "Find out where they live. We'll tackle both issues tonight." The recording wrapped up with Peter's frantic breaths, hiding in what seemed like a bathroom stall. Matthew's vision turned crimson. Ashley, his wife of 10 years and mother of his child, was in that video, and she was scheming something that made him a problem needing a permanent fix. "They were right on my tail, Dad," Peter whispered. "The big guy cornered me in the parking lot and threw a punch. He warned me that if I said anything about what I saw, you and Mom would be in danger." "But Dad," Peter's voice cracked, "I believe they're out to hurt you no matter what." Matthew drew his son in tight, sensing the boy's body shake against him. In that instant, everything changed within him. The final traces of a man who championed forgiveness and second chances vanished, replaced by a harder, colder entity, forged in the fires of betrayal. "Peter, pay close attention to what I'm about to say," Matthew urged. His voice steadied, even as fury simmered within. "Head upstairs and grab a bag. Pack your essentials fast. Keep it from your mom. Can you pull that off?" Peter nodded, completely trusting his father. "Great job. Peter, you made the right call by telling me I've got this. But I need you to stay strong just a bit longer." Peter crept upstairs while Matthew leaned back, his mind racing. Ashley wasn't merely cheating. She was scheming something much darker. She dragged their son into it, putting him at risk and letting him get hurt. That crossed a line, no turning back now. He glanced at his phone, quickly scrolling through contacts until he spotted a name he hadn't dialed in years. Nathan Drake. Jamie led a private security firm filled with ex-military pros, including the guys Matthew had served alongside before diving into construction. Ashley and her mystery man thought they were in a risky game, but they were about to discover what true danger really meant. First, he needed more intel. Matthew fired up his laptop, shot the video to a secure email, and started making copies. Ashley's plan had one major flaw. She had misjudged the man she married. The front door swung open, and Ashley's enchanting voice rang out. "I'm back. Apologies for the delay. Had to swing by the office for some files." Matthew caught the sound of her footsteps on the hardwood, her soft humming filling the air as she hung up her coat. She seemed completely normal, utterly innocent. The woman he loved and trusted, the one he built a life with, casually walked into their home after scheming his downfall and letting his son take a beating. "Matthew. Hey, Peter. Where's everybody at?" He saved his work, shut the laptop, and headed to the living room. There stood Ashley in a sleek black dress that accentuated her figure, her auburn hair flawlessly styled despite the weather. He had to admit, she was stunning. Stunning yet lethal. "Hey, babe," she said, flashing a smile that had once melted his heart. "Where's Peter at?" "His backpack's by the door, yet the house is eerily silent." "He's upstairs," Matthew said, scanning her face for any hint of a lie. "Tough day at school." Ashley's face transformed into a mask of concern. Truly an Oscar-worthy moment. "What's going on? Is he all right?" "Someone hurt him," Matthew said, treading lightly. "Gave him a serious beating." Ashley's hand shot to her mouth in disbelief. "Did you call the school? Police? Let's do it." "It's handled," Matthew interrupted, his voice sharp enough to make Ashley stop in her tracks. "I've got it covered." A flicker danced in Ashley's eyes. Was it relief? Scared? Matthew couldn't decipher it, but he tucked the reaction away for future analysis. Ashley said, "I should check on him," as she headed for the stairs. "He's sleeping," Matthew stated decisively. "Give him a break." Ashley nodded, but Matthew noticed her eyeing Peter's backpack once more. She was on the hunt for something, likely her phone, eager to see if Peter had recorded anything incriminating. "I'll start dinner," she said at last. "We need to discuss boosting security here, especially with kids attacking others at school." Matthew caught the irony in her words instantly. He was set to talk about security, but not in the way she anticipated. As Ashley headed to the kitchen, Matthew made his move. The game was on, but Ashley and her mystery man were unaware they were up against someone shaped by far tougher trials than suburban infidelity. They aimed to take him out, they just declared war on the wrong guy. He grabbed his phone and called Nathan Drake. Time to cash in some favors. Chapter 2. The investigation the next morning was gray and cold, mirroring Matthew's mood as he waited in his truck outside Meridian Marketing Solutions, where Ashley worked as an account executive. He crashed on the couch, whining about his back, while Ashley snoozed soundly in their bed. A scene that would have impressed him if it didn't make his stomach turn. Nathan Drake jumped into the passenger seat, his rugged face marked by the scars of countless deployments abroad. At 42, he moved with the sleek precision of someone seasoned in tough environments. Shield Tactical, his security firm, tapped into the expertise of former special operations pros, focusing on corporate security and private investigations. "Hell of a thing, Wiggins," Jamie said, tossing Matthew a tablet packed with preliminary intel. "I had my tech guy amp up that video your boy filmed. The audio's much clearer now." Matthew grabbed the tablet and popped in the earbuds. The boosted audio sent his blood pressure soaring. Ashley's voice is captivating. Last year, he doubled the life insurance policy by expanding the business. 2 million. Unidentified male voice. "Are you certain he hasn't switched the beneficiary?" Ashley is upbeat. "I take care of all the paperwork. The challenge lies in making it seem like a coincidence." Masculine tone. "I've got this covered. I've tackled bigger challenges than any construction worker." Ashley. "What's the deal with his business partners?" Marco Silva and Riley Mason. Masculine tone. "What's the deal with them?" Ashley. "Questions may come up. Matthew's on high alert about safety protocols. A site accident raises eyebrows. Masculine tone. So we skip it on site. Car crash. Home invasion takes a wild turn. I've got connections. Matthew had heard enough. The recording unleashed even more damning details. He thrust the tablet at Jamie, his jaw clenched in barely contained rage. Jamie noted the professional hit. This isn't just a lover's spat gone awry. Your wife's brought in some heavy hitters. What else did you discover? Jamie quickly scrolled through a bunch of photos on the tablet. Mystery man. Clayton Mathis, 38, a former military member, dishonorably discharged for conduct unbecoming. Since then, he's been tied to 3 dubious deaths, each staged as accidents, all with life insurance payouts involved. He's sharp, cautious, and high-priced. Matthew examined Clayton's photo. The man resembled Matthew's brother. Identical build, comparable features. Matthew's eyes radiated warmth and integrity, while Clayton's were icy and calculating. How did Ashley meet him? Now, here's where it gets exciting. Jamie yanked up another file. Ashley brought Meridian on board 6 months ago to manage advertising for Mathis Consulting, a new client. Clayton's real business facade. But wait, there's more. The consulting firm is nothing but a facade. 0 actual clients. No real services available. It's just a front to clean up cash from his other ventures. Matthew's mind raced as the pieces fell into place. Her meeting him was no coincidence. Not a chance. Clayton dug into her background, likely spotting her as a valuable asset long before reaching out. Ashley's financial records show she's overspending compared to your household income. Credit cards, pricey fashion, bling. She's been scheming this for ages. Matthew's familiar cold rage surged within him. The same rush he felt in battle, when enemy fire zipped dangerously close to his squad. What's up with Peter? How long have they suspected he could be a problem? They repeatedly talked about the kid's schedule in the enhanced audio. He always stayed after school for art club on Thursdays. Clayton waited eagerly. The shocking news that they had deliberately targeted his 8-year-old son sent Matthew over the edge. He shut his eyes, inhaling deeply, transforming his anger into something powerful. I need 24/7 surveillance on both of them. I want to track their every move, every conversation, every breath they take. Jamie confirmed, already in motion. But Matthew, there's more to it. Bigger things ahead. Matthew glanced at his old army buddy, sensing the familiar tone that signaled bad news ahead. Ashley's just another target for Clayton this year. We uncovered 2 more cases with strikingly similar patterns. Harold Preston, a construction company owner in Sacramento, received a life insurance payout after his accident. Just 8 months later, his wife remarried. Ronald Wheeler, a real estate developer in Phoenix, follows the same pattern. Wow, Jesus Christ. How many people has this guy taken out? At least 6 we can prove. Likely even more. And here's the twist. Both widows have since experienced their own accidents after the insurance money was swiftly moved to offshore accounts. The implication struck Matthew hard. If Ashley managed to have him killed, she wouldn't be around to savor the cash. Clayton was in it for the long haul, treating women like her as mere disposable assets. She has no idea she's already dead, Matthew said. None of them ever do. Clayton's steady and deliberate. He gains trust, cuts off his targets from their support, and then removes anyone who could link him to the crime. Matthew glared across the parking lot at the building where his wife was likely glued to her desk, firing off emails and fielding client calls, all while plotting his demise. The woman he loved, protected, and provided for was not just betraying him. She was carelessly marching toward her own doom. A typical guy might have felt sorry for her. Matthew was filled with contempt. His phone buzzed. Ashley had texted, "Hey babe, burning the midnight oil tonight. Don't hold back. Love ya. Let me guess," Jamie said, scanning Matthew's expression. Office vibes after hours. Meeting with Clayton to nail down the details. Matthew fired up the truck's engine. "Let's catch up with some old friends." "What's on your mind?" Matthew's smile was cold and empty. Ashley and Clayton believe they're in a chess match, but I'm just playing checkers. They're about to discover what sets a construction worker apart from a combat engineer. 20 minutes later, they arrived at Wiggins Construction's parking lot. Matthew's company filled a vast complex of offices, equipment yards, and workshops. It was more than a business. It was a family of 140 employees who relied on him for their livelihoods. Caesar Meadows and Riley Mason, his business partners and best friends, were already in the conference room when Matthew walked in. Both men fought alongside him in Afghanistan and poured their life savings into the company when Matthew launched it 8 years ago. Caesar, once an explosives expert, now led safety for the company. His meticulous approach and sharp focus on detail secured them multiple safety awards and kept insurance costs down. Dwayne, a former military police investigator, managed HR and security for the company. "Gentlemen," Matthew announced, shutting the conference room door as he and Jamie entered, "we've got an issue." Matthew laid it all out in the next hour. Clayton's past, Ashley's treachery, Peter's looming danger. He saw his friends go from shock to fury to steely resolve. "What's the game plan?" Dwayne inquired about Matthew's finish time. "They're playing with fire." Matthew shot back, "We're unleashing an inferno." Caesar leaned in, his dark eyes blazing. "What do you want?" Matthew mentioned access to the old military storage. "We held onto the gear from our contractor days abroad." Both men nodded in agreement. They launched the company by snagging specialized equipment from military surplus channels. Partly through official channels, partly via gray market connections forged during deployment. Equipment was stored in a secure bunker under the main office. Matthew pressed on with surveillance gear, communications equipment, and essential tools for a complete operation. We're flipping Clayton's tactics right back at him. "What's up with Ashley?" Dwayne inquired. Matthew's face turned steely. "Ashley chose to put our son in danger. Her fate hinges on that choice." Jamie whipped out his tablet, revealing the morning's surveillance photos. Clayton's at the Grand Windsor Hotel in the heart of downtown. Luxury suite bought outright in cash. He thinks this will be a quick operation. "How brief?" Caesar inquired. "He usually takes out his main target within 2 weeks of first connecting with local assets. Ashley's been feeding him intel for 6 months. We've got about a week before he strikes." Matthew rose, his decision sharp and clear. "Let's take the lead. We do this smartly, cleanly, and permanently. When we're finished, Victor Knight will regret ever hearing the name Wiggins." As they plotted their counteroffensive, a grim satisfaction washed over Matthew. Ashley and Clayton messed up by taking aim at not just a man, but a brotherhood forged in battle. Did they really want to ruin his life? They just picked a fight with the wrong family. The game was on the brink of a dramatic shift. Chapter 3. 3 days into Matthew's investigation, the shocking extent of Ashley and Clayton's conspiracy started to unfold. Matthew sat in the secure bunker under Wiggins Construction, surrounded by monitors flashing surveillance footage, financial records, and intercepted communications. What he found could have shattered someone less strong. Guillermo Cantrell, Jamie's tech whiz, had pulled an intense 72-hour marathon breaking into Ashley's encrypted messages. A former NSA analyst's digital forensic skills revealed a web of deception spanning nearly 2 years. "Your wife's been playing the long game," Guillermo said, his bloodshot eyes showing the toll of his marathon session. "Check this out." An email from 18 months ago, sent by Ashley from her personal account, was traced to an encrypted address linked to Clayton. Target locked in: Ethan Carter, Wiggins Construction, Denver. Net worth around $4.2 million. $2 million life insurance. Possible issues ahead. Business partners with military experience, 1 child, age 8. Unbreakable family bonds. Evaluation. Risk that's easy to handle. Big payoff. Matthew's hands tightened as he scanned his life. Now just a target assessment that IT only got worse. "She's capturing it all." Guillermo pressed on, pulling up more files. "Your daily routines, security habits, business meetings, and Peter's school schedule, all of it matters." She put together a full operational profile. Ashley's updates on Matthew's movements came in with military precision. Target heads out for work at 6:45 a.m. every day. Returns from 6 to 7 p.m. unless job site problems pop up. Saturday mornings at the gym, Mountain Fitness. Colfax, Sunday is all about family fun, parks or hiking adventures. Concealed carry. Glock 19 but left it outside the house. Basic home security system, seldom armed during the day. Jamie let out a low whistle. She's been tracking you for more than a year. This is pure betrayal. It's a tactical mission. Matthew scrolled through the messages, each one stabbing at his heart. Target has a strong bond with his son. Potential leverage if direct action doesn't succeed. The child has total trust in me. Business partners, Meadows and Reese, both former military. Suggest getting rid of them too if they raise any suspicions. Transform it into a workplace accident scenario. Targets facing some health hiccups. Back pain and stress headaches. Chance for slow poisoning if the timeline permits. The last message, sent only 2 days ago, included the operational timeline. Phase 1 done. Target completely cut off from any potential allies. Phase 2, here we go. Heads up. Traffic accident on Highway 70 this Friday night. Stay safe out there. We'll have the child with grandma that evening. Matthew glanced up from the screen, catching his friends and allies eyeing him with barely contained fury. These men had faced hellish firefights in Afghanistan, but nothing could brace them for this shocking betrayal. There's more, Guillermo whispered. I mapped out Clayton's operation structure. He's connected. The next screen revealed a tangled web of connections that sent chills down Matthew's spine. Clayton had company. He led a team of experts. Della Randolph, ex-pharmaceutical tech, master of untraceable poisons. Angelo Rowland, a mechanic who tackles vehicle accident scenarios head-on. Kirk Stevens, IT expert managing identity shifts and financial transactions. Edith Erickson, Ashley's sister, is on backup for communications and alibis. Sis, Matthew leaned in and whispered. Edith was aware. Guillermo replied grimly, more than you know. She's been in the game since day one. Check this out. Text messages from last month flashed on the screen between Ashley and Edith. Ashley, Matthew's starting to catch on to my spending habits. He challenged the jewelry buys. Edith, follow the plan. Once it's complete, you'll have the cash to leave those shady husbands behind for good. Ashley, what's the deal with Peter? He loves his dad. Edith, the kids are quick to adapt. With a hefty trust fund and a stepdad who knows how to tackle issues, things are looking good. Their nonchalant talk about ruining his son's life sent Matthew spiraling from rage into a chilling, perilous calm. He rose slowly, making everyone else tense up. Caesar, reach out to Theodore Snow, Matthew instructed, mentioning the ex-CIA operative now handling private contracts. We need a complete psychological profile on Victor Knight and his network. SAP. What's on your mind? Dwayne inquired. Matthew shot back. I say we don't just stop them. We obliterate them so thoroughly that their names turn into cautionary tales. Jamie grabbed another set of files. Don't miss this last thing. We tracked Clayton's finances across multiple shell companies. Clayton's operation was laid bare by the financial records. In just 5 years, he masterminded the deaths of 12 individuals, raking in over $20 million through insurance payouts, inheritance scams, and asset transfers. Every victim was meticulously chosen, cut off, and taken out. The most chilling discovery? The pattern. After each successful operation, Clayton swiftly took out his accomplices. Women who guided him in targeting their husbands, specialists executing the details. They all faced their own accidents in the end. Ashley's already dead, Matthew whispered. She hasn't realized it yet. What's the move? Dwayne inquired. Matthew dashed to the secure safe in the bunker's corner and grabbed the folder labeled Contingency Alpha. Emergency protocols created for the company but never put to the test. Inside were intricate plans for scenarios demanding drastic actions to safeguard their business and families. We're giving Clayton exactly what he wants, Matthew declared, laying the documents out on the table. Matthew Wiggins is dead. Silence enveloped the room as the implications hit hard. Caesar urged, fake your death. Even better, we're going to let Clayton think he killed me. As he and Ashley celebrate their victory, we'll quietly take apart their entire operation from the shadows. Guillermo glanced up from his screens. That's genius. If Clayton believes he's victorious, he'll drop his guard. Begin taking out the witnesses. Jamie added grimly, including Ashley. Matthew gave a quick nod. She chose her path. Now she faces the fallout. He paused, his expression shifting to a softer look. First, let's get Peter to safety. I refuse to let my son be collateral damage in this war. Dwayne was quick to grab his phone. My brother Frank Baxter owns a ranch in Montana. Ex-Marine, top-notch security, totally off the grid. Peter can hang tight until it's all done. Great. Get the plans in place. Matthew faced the group. All right, team, we've got 4 days to execute the biggest operation of our lives. Failure is not on the table. If we fail, Clayton targets new victims, and our family's blood will be on our hands. As his team scattered to start their tasks, Matthew fixated on the surveillance photos of Ashley exiting her office building. She radiated happiness and confidence, likely envisioning the new life awaiting her after his death. She had no clue that her husband, the seemingly ordinary construction worker, was about to show her and Victor Knight what it truly meant to confront someone shaped by the fires of real warfare. The student was on the brink of becoming the teacher, and the lesson would be etched in blood. Chapter 4. The chess master Matthew stood in his home office at 3 a.m., fixated on a 3D tactical map sprawled across his desk. Red pins pinpointed Ashley and Clayton's spots, blue pins marked his team's locations, and yellow pins highlighted potential ambush sites. To an outsider, it might have seemed like a military operation in the making, and in reality it was. Peter arrived at Frank Baxter's ranch in Montana the night before, ready for an exciting week-long camping trip with his Uncle Frank. The boy hesitated to leave, sensing trouble, but Matthew's promise to explain everything when Peter got back was enough to push him forward. With his son safe, Matthew was ready to dive into the deadly game ahead. Thomas Shaw slipped in at 3:15 a.m., gliding through the shadows with the legendary grace that defined his CIA days. At 51, Theodore's rugged face told tales of operations in a dozen hostile countries, yet his mind stayed razor-sharp. Interesting situation here, Wiggins, Theodore said, grabbing a cup of coffee and scanning the intelligence files. Victor Knighty's far more dangerous than you first thought. Why's that? Theodore whipped out a tablet packed with classified psychological profiles. I connected with some old contacts. Mathis is more than a killer. He's a sociopathic mastermind. IQ of 157, a photographic memory, and zero emotional ties to others. He sees people as tools to use and toss aside. Matthew scanned the profile. Clayton's military service started strong with impressive tactical and leadership scores. But within 6 months of deployment, disciplinary issues emerged. Violent interrogations, suspected theft of Iraqi cultural treasures, and the shocking execution of 3 surrendered insurgents led to his discharge. Theodore pressed on. He wasn't cashiered for killing, but for how much he relished it. Mathis's commanding officer observed that he showed sexual arousal in violent situations. The revelation intensified the threat significantly. Clayton had motives beyond just cash. He was a predator, skillfully indulging his darkest impulses and cashing in on them. How's his network looking? Thoughtfully chosen broken souls, Theodore replied. Della Randolph had her medical license revoked for stealing narcotics. Her husband walked out when she couldn't kick the habit. Angelo Rowland is drowning in gambling debts that could cost him his life if he doesn't keep the cash flowing. Kirk Stevens, a paranoid schizophrenic, believes the government is spying on him via his computer. And Edith, Theodore's face clouded over. Your sister-in-law might just be more dangerous than Clayton. He's a sociopath. She's a narcissist with grand delusions. She truly thinks she's above everyone else, believing that ordinary moral rules don't count for her. Matthew took in the info, reshaping his view of the competition. Got any suggestions? Keep an eye on everyone, but zero in on Clayton. Take him out, and the whole network crumbles. His followers are just tools, lacking true belief. At 4 a.m., Matthew's team gathered in the secure bunker. In just 3 days, the space morphed into a military command center. Guillermo set up secure comms, surveillance feeds, and electronic countermeasures. Jamie strategically placed his SHIELD tactical operatives all over the city. Caesar and Dwayne had turned the construction company's resources into a tactical powerhouse, impressing even their old commanding officers. Status report. Matthew kicked off. Jamie checked his tablet. Clayton caught up with Angelo Rowland yesterday at a chop shop on the south side. They checked out a stolen sedan, identical to your truck. They're gearing up to hit you on Highway 70, likely tonight or tomorrow. Ashley's actions, boosting oversight of your daily habits. She's been monitoring your GPS via your phone's location services. Yesterday, she quizzed Peter on your weekend plans, especially if you'd stick to your usual Saturday morning gym run. Dwayne accessed the financial records. We've tracked money transfers from Clayton to his network. $50,000 to Angelo for the accident, $25,000 to Della for her services, and $20,000 to Kirk for identity documentation. They're on the move, so we need to pick up the pace, Matthew said. Caesar, what's the update on the special project? Caesar flashed a grin, the kind that showed he truly loved what he did. Body doubles all set. Jimmy Vega from the film industry owes me a favor from when we secured that shoot. Hollywood-level effects, charred beyond recognition, but we've got your dental records, DNA samples, and personal belongings. Matthew gave a quick nod. The plan was bold and essential. They would orchestrate his death to meet Clayton's demands, giving Matthew the presumed dead status essential for his counterattack. Theodore, I need tactics for psychological warfare. How can we shatter their minds before we take them down physically? The ex-CIA operative flashed a chilling smile. Clayton's top asset? His unwavering belief in his own superiority. We crush that illusion by proving he's been outsmarted by those he deems lesser. Ashley's flaw? Her narcissism. She can't grasp the fallout from her actions. What are the tactics? Show Clayton that his whole operation has been compromised from the start. Reveal the surveillance footage of his private moments, expose his so-called secrets, and present the proof that he's been following your lead all along. Show Ashley the truth about Clayton's intentions. Let her realize she's replaceable. A narcissist crumbles when they see they're not the star of their own show. Matthew scanned the timeline they built. They're set to move tomorrow night. Based on their messages, we've got 18 hours to wrap it all up. Guillermo glanced up from his screens. I've set up digital evidence packages that will instantly upload to law enforcement databases when activated. Records, messages, video proof. All set to make sure the survivors confront federal charges. What's the deal with the kids? Dwayne inquired. Edith's got 2 kids. Angelo's got a daughter. Matthew's expression eased a bit. Collateral damage must be minimized, but their parents chose to engage in murder. The children enter protective services following their parents' arrest or removal. Silence engulfed the room as the weight of the implications hit them. They were gearing up for the strategic takedown of a whole criminal network, a mission that demanded multiple lives. Having doubts? Matthew whispered. Jamie represented the group. They were plotting to kill you, and likely your son too. At least 12 others are dead. This is pest control, not revenge. Theodore nodded in agreement. From what I've seen, people like Clayton won't quit until they're completely halted. Every day he stays active, innocent lives are lost. Matthew scanned the room, taking in his brothers in arms. Men who had endured hell with him were now ready to unleash a new kind of hell on his enemies. Let's move forward as planned. Tomorrow night, tragedy strikes as Ethan Carter meets his untimely end in an accident. By Sunday morning, Victor Knight and his crew will find out what it's like to be chased by ghosts. As the team split up for final preparations, Matthew headed home one last time. Ashley slept soundly, likely dreaming of her new life, all thanks to his demise. He lingered in the doorway, etching her face into his memory. Not from love, but to capture the essence of betrayal. Tomorrow, the war kicks off, and Matthew plans to crush it so hard that guys like Victor Knight will think twice before messing with families like his. The hunter was on the brink of becoming the hunted. Chapter 5. The Trap Springs Friday evening burst onto the scene with an unexpected warmth, charging the streets of Denver with electric potential. Olivia Matthews took one last look in the bathroom mirror, applying lipstick with steady hands, adrenaline pumping through her veins. Tonight, after 18 months of intense planning, she would finally break free. At 7:30 p.m., Matthew kissed her goodbye at the front door, his lips gently brushing her forehead, just as he always had during their marriage. If he had any doubts, he sure didn't show it. Drive safe, Ashley urged, her voice laced with just the right touch of wifely concern. The roads are still slick from yesterday's rain. Always do, Matthew said, swinging his gym bag over his shoulder. After the workout, I'm likely hitting dinner with Caesar. Don't hold back. Ashley peered through the living room window as Matthew's black Ford F-150 sped out of the driveway and vanished into the evening rush. She waited 3 minutes, the time it took him to hit the first intersection, before dialing Clayton's number. He just left, she said, diving right in. Clayton's voice was calm and professional. Perfect timing. Angelo's ready at mile marker 47. Dell is ready at Denver General with the emergency room contacts. Kirk's got the identity transfers primed for action. What happens next? Then you become a grieving widow who inherits it all. We'll wait for the right morning. Then you vanish to kick off your new life. Ashley shut her eyes, envisioning the Cayman Islands house Clayton had shared, the numbered bank accounts, the escape from Matthew's stifling middle-class life. After tonight, she'd finally be free from pretending to care about construction schedules, safety meetings, or her husband's dull friends. I love you, she whispered into the phone. I know, Clayton shot back. Then silence fell. 20 miles out. Ethan Carter rode shotgun in a matching Ford F-150, with Sean Bass at the wheel, one of Jamie's top operatives. They sped down Highway 70, just like Matthew every Friday evening, keeping a close watch while staying a safe distance from the truck carrying their target. Jeffrey Cotton, a SHIELD tactical operative, drove the truck loaded with the Hollywood-quality body double that Caesar had set up. The plan was brilliantly simple. Let Clayton's team execute their flawless crime, featuring charred wreckage and a body so mangled it can't be identified right away. By the time the dental records were processed, records switched in the coroner's database by Kirk's own hacking, Matthew would officially be dead. Target vehicle located. Jeffrey's voice burst through the encrypted radio. Black sedan, 2 people inside, lurking behind concrete barriers at mile marker 47. Matthew experienced a chilling thrill surge through him. After months of being hunted, he was ready to flip the script on his predators. Attention all units, this is command. Jamie's voice crackled over the comms. Kick off Phase 1. What happened next was executed with military precision. Jeffrey's truck zipped around mile marker 47 when Angelo Rowland's stolen sedan burst from behind the concrete barriers, slamming into the passenger side at 60 miles per hour. The crash was devastating, just as Clayton envisioned. What Clayton didn't see coming was the explosive device Caesar had hidden in the truck's cab. The explosion transformed the vehicle into a blazing inferno, scorching the asphalt below it. Beautiful work, Matthew murmured, eyes glued to the flames devouring what Clayton thought was his body. Angelo Rowland stumbled out of his mangled sedan, blood pouring from a gash on his head. He quickly grabbed his cell phone and dialed Clayton. That it's done, he gasped. Target down. I need medical attention now. Nope. Clayton's voice cut through the air like ice. You're familiar with the protocol. Angelo's eyes shot open in panic as the meaning of Clayton's words hit him. Before he could react, a sharp rifle shot from Guillermo in the tree line cut Angelo's role in the operation short, permanently. Phase 1 done, Jamie reported. On to Phase 2. As emergency responders raced to the accident scene, Matthew's team kicked off the second phase of their operation. Clayton messed up big time with his operational security. He thought he was the sole predator in the game. Ashley got the call she'd been waiting for at 9:15 p.m. A Colorado State Patrol officer delivered the tragic news. Her husband had died in a traffic accident on Highway 70. She showcased her grief perfectly, crumpling in shock, sobbing into the phone with just the right touch of hysteria. 20 minutes later, Clayton showed up at her house to console the grieving widow. He held her as she cried, whispered reassurances about their future together, and helped her call family members to share the devastating news. Neither of them spotted the microcameras Guillermo had hidden around the house or the listening devices relaying every word to Matthew's command center. Dwayne watched the monitors, noting how Ashley was really nailing her performance. Natural talent, Theodore shot back. Narcissists shine as actors when the pressure is on. Ashley called Edith at 10:30 p.m. to share the news. Her sister's reply unveiled the layers of their plot. "Ashley, that's awful." Edith's voice burst with shock and grief. "Everything good with you? Need me to swing by?" Ashley said, "Clayton's here with me. He's incredibly supportive." "Clayton, great news about your new business client. It's fantastic to have support during tough times." The recorded conversation would eventually serve as evidence, but for now, it just reinforced what Matthew already knew. His sister-in-law shared the same guilt as his wife. Phase 3 kicked off at midnight. Ashley and Clayton were lost in passion on the bed Matthew once shared with his wife for a decade, while his team launched a strike against the last remnants of Clayton's network. Della Randolph was taken into custody at Denver General Hospital while trying to help identify Matthew's body. Federal agents received a tip about the stolen narcotics hidden in her car, which Theodore had stashed there earlier that evening. Kirk Stevens realized his computer systems were fully compromised when he tried to execute the identity transfers for Ashley and Clayton. Rather than shifting funds offshore, his transactions set off automatic alerts to the FBI's Financial Crimes Division. At 1 a.m., federal agents crashed through his door, but the best part of Matthew's plan was just getting started. At 2 a.m., Clayton's phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. "Let's chat, a buddy." The message contained an address, a warehouse on Denver's outskirts, a spot Clayton had utilized for past operations. With curiosity and a hint of concern, Clayton slipped out of Ashley's bed and sped off to the location. When Clayton arrived, the warehouse seemed empty, but his instincts screamed that something was off. He stepped inside, and motion-activated lights flickered on, unveiling a shocking sight. Photographs plastered the walls, surveillance shots of Clayton captured over the last 18 months. Images of past victims, financial statements from offshore accounts, and comprehensive files on every operation he executed. A lone chair occupied the warehouse's center, topped with a manila folder. Clayton moved in carefully, his hands sliding to the pistol hidden under his jacket. The folder held every message exchanged with Ashley, financial transfers to his network, and a full organizational chart of his operation. But the final document sent chills down his spine. A comprehensive psychological profile of Clayton Mathis, featuring military psychiatric evaluations and survivor assessments from his initial targeting. A handwritten note at the bottom of the profile. "Clayton, you made a crucial mistake. You thought your target was an easy catch. Matt Wiggins. Clayton whirled, weapon drawn, but the warehouse was eerily silent and deserted. Suddenly, the lights flickered and went out, leaving him in total darkness. As the emergency lights flickered on 30 seconds later, Clayton was suddenly encircled by 6 men in tactical gear, their weapons aimed at him with chilling accuracy. At the center stood Ethan Carter, a figure Clayton recognized from the surveillance photos, alive and in control. "Hello, Clayton," Matthew said, his voice steady, mirroring the calmness Clayton had shown while orchestrating Matthew's demise. "Looks like you wanted to meet up." The hunter turned prey, and the Real chase was just starting. Chapter 6. The reckoning begins. Victor Knight stood in the warehouse, pistol aimed at Ethan Carter. But his confidence was slipping fast. .6 red laser sights danced across his chest and forehead, while the men around him moved with the sharp precision of elite soldiers. "Impressive resurrection," Clayton said, trying to keep his cool as sweat dripped from his forehead. "But seriously, if you faked your death, what happened to the poor guy in the truck?" Matthew edged forward, hovering just beyond Clayton's reach. "Hollywood enchantment. Silicone? Pig's blood? Dental implants. Let's dive in." Angelo passed away thinking he had nailed his mission. Clayton felt a chill at the casual mention of Angelo's death. If Matthew had taken out Angelo, it showed he was way more in the loop about the operation than Clayton expected. "What do you need?" Clayton asked, his mind whirring with escape plans. "Justice," Matthew shot back. "Listen up, Clayton, you messed up big time in your approach. You saw me as a victim when I was really the predator." Thomas Shaw stepped out of the shadows, tablet in hand, packed with Clayton's psychological profile. "Clayton, you're a sociopath. Perfect example. You're just not thinking outside the box. Your approach works well, but it's a bit too expected." Clayton's eyes flicked between the men around him, searching for any cracks in their formation. "I'm unstoppable. Countless witnesses, overwhelming evidence. You're builders, not hitmen. Nathan Drake laughed, but there was no joy in it. Builders on the job? Clayton, you totally skipped your homework. Matthew and his team, ex-military contractors, completed 3 intense tours in Afghanistan, taking out high-value targets. What appears to be a construction company is really a front for something entirely different. Clayton felt the revelation slam into him. He dug into Matthew's surface identity but overlooked the deeper truth. Wiggins Construction employed ex-special operations personnel who expertly shifted their military skills to the civilian sector. Matthew continued, highlighting the brilliance of your plan. Its simplicity. Zero in on a successful businessman, charm his wife, neutralize any risks, and cash in on the insurance payout. Wash and go. You picked the wrong businessman. Caesar stepped up, his explosives expertise shining through in his confident stride. Listen up, Clayton, we've been monitoring your whole network for months. Every message, every transaction, every hideout. You're not just running things. You're part of our mission. Clayton's pistol trembled as the reality of his mistake hit him hard. Prove it. You can't. Ashley will confirm I was with her the entire evening. Ashley. Dwayne whipped out his phone and hit play on a recorded conversation. Clayton's voice echoed through the warehouse. Once the insurance payout comes through, we take out the wife. Protocol in place. No witnesses allowed. Clayton's face drained of color as he realized the recording had captured a conversation he believed was private. Not happening. We utilized encrypted communications. Guillermo burst from behind a support column, laptop in hand, showcasing live surveillance feeds. With NSA-level capabilities, nothing stays encrypted. We've been in your network from the start. The psychological warfare was hitting its mark. Clayton's carefully built superiority complex was falling apart as he saw he had been outsmarted at every turn. Here's what's going to happen, Matthew declared, his voice sharp and commanding. Call Ashley and let her know there's a complication. Accelerate the timeline for witness elimination. No way. Caesar aimed his weapon, the laser dot fixed on Clayton's forehead. You'll either face psychological torture or jump straight to physical elimination. It's your call. Clayton scanned the warehouse one last time, then swiftly grabbed his phone. Matthew gave a quick nod to Guillermo, who sprang into action, activating the recording equipment. Ashley, it's me, Clayton said as soon as she picked up. We've got a situation. The police are probing deeper into Matthew's accident than we expected. Let's speed up the timeline. What do you mean by that? Ashley's voice brimmed with real concern. We have to take out potential witnesses tonight. Anyone who can link us to the operation. A brief silence hung in the air. Are you seriously discussing murder? Let's focus on safeguarding our future. This was always in the game plan, Ashley. You were aware of that. No, I thought we were just taking Matthew out of the equation. You never mentioned anything about taking lives. Clayton locked eyes with Matthew, instantly aware of the trap set before him. Matthew set up this conversation to reveal the harsh truth of Ashley's involvement. Ashley, pay close attention. Clayton pressed on, tracking Matthew's pointed directions. I've taken 12 lives in 5 years. Matthew was just another payday thrill. Once this operation wraps up, you'll find yourself in an accident as well. The plan was always set. The silence on the line dragged on for almost 30 seconds before Ashley's voice broke through, small and scared. You're not being truthful. Take a look at your laptop. I've sent you all the files detailing every operation. Ashley, check out the pattern. Every woman who assists me meets a grim fate within 6 months. Matthew signaled for Clayton to wrap up the call. With the line going dead, Guillermo verified that Ashley had accessed the files automatically uploaded to her computer. Phase 4 is officially underway, Theodore declared. The target's support network is mentally weakened. Matthew studied Clayton's face, hit by the harsh truth. He had been played into wrecking his own operation. You're curious about how he figured out precisely what to make you say. Theodore broke down psychological profiling. Sociopaths become predictable when you grasp their core motivations. You see others as expendable assets. Under pressure, you always expose your true intentions because you struggle to grasp real human connections. Clayton's grip on his pistol tightened. You really think you've got this in the bag? I've got connections and resources. This is just the beginning. Dwayne checked his tablet and replied, "Actually, it is. Federal authorities have frozen your offshore accounts. Your safe houses are being watched. Della Randolph is in federal custody, while Kirk Stevens faces processing for multiple felonies." "And Ashley?" Clayton asked. Matthew's smile was cold and empty. "Ashley is about to discover the fate of those who betray their families." Just as he spoke, Matthew's phone buzzed to life. Ashley's name flashed on the caller ID. "Matt?" Ashley's voice was frantic, filled with sobs. "Matthew, there's a problem. Clayton's been deceiving me. He's taken lives. He was set on taking me out as well." Matthew hit the speakerphone, letting Clayton hear his wife's frantic voice. "No way. Ashley, I'm gone. Remember? You saw me blaze on Highway 70. Then, there was complete silence. Ashley finally spoke, her voice barely a whisper. "How did you hear about the accident?" "Because I know it all, Ashley. I'm aware of the 18 months of surveillance. I'm aware of your sister's role. I'm aware of the insurance payout and the property in the Caymans. You picked Clayton over your family, and that's what matters most." "Matthew, wait. I can explain." "No explanation needed. Your decision put our son at risk, allowing him to be beaten and threatened. That was when our marriage fell apart." Clayton tuned in, desperation mounting with every word. His meticulously crafted scheme was falling apart, and the woman he had coerced into betraying her husband was now pleading for his forgiveness. "What's your goal?" Ashley asked, her voice trembling. "Justice," Matthew shot back, "and you're in for the ride to deliver it." The endgame loomed, and Victor Knight realized he wasn't hunting a victim after all. He had stepped into the trap of a far more lethal predator. Chapter 7: The Final Gambit. Olivia Matthews sat in her living room at 3 a.m., fixated on her laptop screen, revealing the shocking truth about Clayton Mathis. 12 victims in 5 years, each operation sticking to the same precise pattern. Charm a woman near the target, collect intel, take out the main target, and then deal with the accomplice. Clayton's files included photos of the women who assisted him. Martha Preston, Sacramento; Gloria Wheeler, Phoenix; Sandra Mitchell, Tucson. All of them are now gone, their deaths cleverly disguised as accidents or suicides, all after Clayton pocketed their husband's life insurance payouts. Her hands trembled as she grabbed her phone and punched in Matthew's number. "I'm ready to help," she whispered as he picked up. "All right, here's your plan." 20 minutes later, Ashley sped through the deserted streets of Denver, heading straight for the warehouse where Matthew had Clayton trapped. Her mind buzzed with the implications of what she had discovered. For 18 months, she thought she was planning her escape from a dull marriage. Instead, she was orchestrating her own demise. The warehouse towered in the night as Ashley slid into a spot next to Clayton's car. Matthew's text lit up her phone. "Your performance is everything. Your life and his are on the line." Inside the warehouse, Clayton paced nervously among the armed men. His earlier confidence vanished. Ashley walked in, his face a blend of relief and suspicion. "Ashley, thank goodness. These guys have me trapped. Let's call the police now." Ashley locked eyes with Clayton and saw not the charming businessman who had captivated her, but the ruthless killer who had plotted her demise from their very first encounter. "I've seen the files, Clayton," she whispered. "I know who you are." Clayton's demeanor changed, charm fading to expose the predator lurking within. "You just don't get it. The files were fake. Matthew's out to turn you against me." "Show her," Matthew told Guillermo. The tech specialist powered up a massive monitor on the warehouse wall. Security footage rolled, showcasing real surveillance from Clayton's past operations. Ashley gasped as Clayton choked Gloria Wheeler in a Phoenix hotel room, then twisted the scene to mimic suicide. Theodore pointed out, "That's Martha Preston," as the next video rolled, revealing Clayton shoving a woman off a Sacramento balcony. Cause of death: accidental fall due to intoxication. Ashley's legs buckled, and she dropped into the folding chair Dwayne had set up for her. "How many?" she whispered. 12 we can prove," Matthew shot back. "You'd likely be number 13. Clayton's facade shattered at last. "You stupid bitch," he snarled at Ashley. "You were never more than a pawn." Did you honestly think I'd share $20 million with a suburban housewife who can't even seduce her own husband? His voice dripped with casual cruelty, striking Ashley like a punch to the gut. For the first time since the operation started, she grasped the real nature of the man she had trusted with her life. "Here's what's going to happen," Matthew declared, his voice commanding, shaped by the weight of life and death choices. "Clayton, reach out to your remaining contacts and inform them the operation is compromised. Order them to scatter and vanish. No way." Caesar lunged ahead, weapon aimed straight at Clayton's kneecap. "You'll comply or we'll kick things off with your legs and move up from there. It's your call." Clayton scanned the warehouse, spotting no escape, no leverage, no chance to take back control. He hesitated but quickly made the calls, commanding his team to abandon their posts and escape. "Excellent," Matthew exclaimed as the calls wrapped up. Time for the final phase. Theodore whipped out a legal document from his briefcase. "Here's a bold confession. Clayton.it details every operation you've executed, every target you've eliminated, and every crime you've carried out. You're signing it. If I refuse, we skip the legal niceties and handle this like we did in Afghanistan." Jamie shot back, icy and direct. Clayton flipped through the confession, his face draining of color with every page. The document was thorough, revealing crimes even the FBI was unaware of. "Signing it means life in prison, no parole." "This is extortion," he declared at last. "This is justice," Matthew corrected. "You've got 60 seconds to choose. Federal prison or a shallow grave in the Colorado wild." Clayton glanced at Ashley, searching for a hint of support or sympathy. All he saw was disgust and terror. The woman he had deceived into betraying her family now realized the true monster she had joined forces with. "Where's my assurance that you'll stick to this deal?" Clayton inquired. "I promise," Matthew replied. "What's a construction worker's take?" Matthew's smile was sharp and cunning. "A man just outsmarted the self-proclaimed genius in the room." Clayton signed the confession, clearly reluctant. With the ink barely dry, Jamie fired up a secure communication device. "Shield actual to control, over. Your package is all set for delivery." With a swift motion, the warehouse doors swung open and 6 federal agents stormed in, led by the determined Special Agent Loretta Freeman from the FBI's Organized Crime Task Force. She stormed up to Clayton, handcuffs in one hand and a warrant in the other. "Clayton Mathis, you're arrested for conspiracy to commit murder, wire fraud, insurance fraud, and racketeering. Stay silent. It's your right." As the agents dragged Clayton off, he shot a glare at Ashley, his eyes burning with hatred. "You really think this will save you? You're still involved in attempted murder. You're facing a lifetime behind bars." Ashley locked eyes with Matthew, desperation flashing through her gaze. Is he correct? Matthew's face was a complete mystery. "It all hinges on your cooperation with the federal investigation." Special Agent Freeman swiftly approached Ashley, brandishing a second set of handcuffs. "Mrs. Wiggins, you're under arrest too. Thanks to your cooperation and the evidence we've gathered, the prosecutor is ready to talk about a plea deal." Ashley glanced back at Matthew one last time as she was taken away. "What's the deal with Peter? What's the deal with our son?" "Peter will be fine," Matthew shot back, icy and direct. "He'll grow up with people who truly get loyalty." As the federal agents left with their prisoners, the warehouse plunged into silence. Matthew's team swiftly tore down their equipment, leaving no evidence of their operation behind. "Do you think they'll face life sentences?" Dwayne inquired. Theodore replied, "Clayton will. Ashley could score 15 to 20 if she fully cooperates." Matthew stood in the vacant warehouse, a grim satisfaction washing over him. Clayton Mathis's reign of terror had ended, leaving Ashley to grapple with the fallout of her betrayal for the next 20 years. The operation was still underway. One loose end remained to be tied up. "All right, gentlemen," Matthew announced. "We've got one last stop to hit." 20 minutes later, they were outside Lily Stewart's house, Ashley's sister and partner in crime. They watched through the windows as she hurriedly packed suitcases, clearly ready to escape now that the operation had fallen apart. Matthew's phone buzzed to life. Peter was on the line, calling from Frank Baxter's ranch in Montana. Dad, I caught the news about your accident. So you're good, yeah? You said you'd break it all down for me. Matthew's voice dropped to a gentle tone as he addressed his son. I'm good, Peter. Absolutely. I'll fill you in on everything when you get back. Ready for a story about why good men sometimes must do terrible things to protect their families? Absolutely. Pay close attention. Matthew laid bare the truth of betrayal, justice, and loyalty's cost to his son, while his team geared up for the operation's thrilling finale. Lily Stewart was on the brink of realizing that some debts demand a blood price. Almost there with the reckoning. Chapter 8 Blood Debts. Lily Stewart packed her suitcase in a frenzy as dawn broke. Clayton's arrest buzzed through her encrypted channels just 20 minutes ago, and she realized the federal net would tighten around her any moment now. Emma and Marcus slept peacefully, oblivious to the impending disaster their mother's greed was about to unleash on their lives. E33. Edith had the same striking auburn hair and captivating green eyes as her sister Ashley. Ashley offered a hint of maternal warmth, but Edith exuded a chilling calculation, all wrapped up in designer threads. She orchestrated Ashley's seduction by Clayton, seizing the chance to get rid of the brother-in-law she loathed while cashing in on a hefty financial gain. Her phone buzzed. An unknown number was calling. She answered, despite her better judgment. Hey, Edith. Matthew's voice was steady, almost casual. As Edith left town, her blood ran cold. From her bedroom window, she spotted the dark shapes of armed men surrounding her house. Matthew, I thought you were gone. Many people are making that mistake these days. Let's chat. I have nothing to say, yet so much to share. Hey, Edith. I've gone through the messages between you and Ashley. You're sending motivating messages about getting rid of the dull husband. Tips for concealing financial transfers. Your vow to support Peter after his father's passing. Edith stepped back from the window, thoughts racing that there's no proof for that. Those communications might be fake. Maybe. I don't need to prove anything in court. While Clayton and Ashley are up against federal charges, you pose a whole different challenge. What are you talking about? Matthew's voice chilled. You conspired to kill your sister's husband, the father of your nephew. You endangered an 8-year-old child. In my moral view, Edith, you're beyond redemption. The line fell silent, and a chill ran through Edith as she understood. Matthew wasn't calling to threaten her with arrest. He was calling to deliver her sentence. The front door burst open as Nathan Drake and Riley Mason stormed in with military precision. Edith screamed and dashed toward her children's rooms, but Caesar Meadows stepped out of the hallway, blocking her way. Your children are safe, Caesar said, calm and collected. They're out cold and won't wake up until this wraps up. We're not the bad guys. Edith. Matthew burst through the front door with Thomas Shaw and Elliot Hazewright behind him. In the suburban backdrop, the men exuded danger, soldiers moving with lethal intent in a civilian setting. Sit down, Matthew ordered, pointing to the sofa in the living room. Edith had to go along with it. She was encircled by 6 men, each exuding deadly skill, embodying the very nightmare she had a hand in creating. Theodore glanced at his tablet. Let's go over your crimes. Conspiracy to commit murder, accessory to assault on a minor, fraud conspiracy, and, most importantly, betrayal of family. I need a lawyer, Edith declared, striving to keep her legal defenses intact. Lawyers are for those dealing with legal trouble. Matthew shot back. You're up against something raw and primal. Guillermo fired up a laptop and flashed surveillance footage onto the wall. 6 months earlier, the screen revealed Edith's meeting with Clayton, long before Ashley was brought on for the operation. Matthew noticed you made the first move. You didn't have Ashley seduce Clayton. You handed her over like a sacrifice. The footage rolled on, revealing Edith feeding Clayton crucial intel on Matthew's routines, business dealings, and family ties. She described her brother-in-law as weak and predictable, her voice cutting through with clarity. This is the part that really grabs me, Matthew said as a new video kicked off. Edith's discipline was harsh. She screamed at 8-year-old Emma for spilling juice and slapped 10-year-old Marcus for forgetting his homework. You're more than just a co-conspirator, Matthew pressed on. You're a manipulative mother scheming to exploit your sister's insurance money to fund a lavish lifestyle, all while instilling fear in your own kids. Edith's facade shattered at last. They enforce discipline. Kids thrive on strong direction. Dwayne said grimly, children need love and protection, something you've never given. Theodore yanked out a hefty file. We've dug into your background. Edith. 3 schools reported suspected child abuse. Complaints have rolled in from your neighbors about the screaming and crying coming from your home. Your family has an open file with social services. Their investigation scope was mind-blowing. These men pieced together a vivid portrait of Edith's life, chronicling years of struggles as a mother and individual. What's your goal? Edith asked, her voice a mere whisper. Justice? Matthew shot back. Justice varies based on the crime. Jamie lunged ahead, holding a legal document. This is a confession about your involvement in the plot to kill Ethan Carter. It also involves voluntarily handing over custody of your children to protective services. No way I'm signing that. Yes, you will, Caesar declared, his voice dripping with conviction. The alternative? Far worse. Matthew leaned in, his eyes sharp with the fierce intensity that had made him a force in battle. Listen up, Edith. Here's the deal. Clayton and Ashley are headed for life in federal prison. They'll get a chance to rethink their choices and maybe even seek redemption. You crossed a line that can't be uncrossed. Which line? You went after a kid. My kid. You conspired to orchestrate Peter's death alongside mine. You pose a danger to my family, and that means you need to be dealt with for good. The implication loomed ominously, a chilling verdict in the atmosphere. Edith scanned the room, finding no sympathy, no mercy. Just a chilling resolve. If I sign the confession and give up custody, what's next for me? Theodore said it plainly, you disappear. Fresh start, moving to a spot where you can't hurt anyone anymore. You're getting more mercy than you earned. Refusing him, I felt the chill in Matthew's smile. We'll tackle this just like we did in Afghanistan. Swiftly, efficiently, and for good. Edith fixed her gaze on the confession, realizing her choices had brought her to this point. She could sign and live in exile or refuse and face execution on the spot. My children will be with a loving family that can give them the care and protection you didn't. Dwayne interrupted. They'll thrive, safe, healthy, and happy without you. The ultimate blow? Everyone in the room knew her kids would thrive without her. Edith's hands trembled as she signed the confession and custody surrender documents. Once the ink dried, Guillermo swiftly uploaded the files to secure servers, triggering automatic transmissions to law enforcement and social services. Transport's ready, Jamie announced. 2 operatives burst into the house, swiftly guiding Edith toward the exit. She glanced back one last time at her sleeping kids. Will they even remember me? She whispered. That'll be a blessing, Matthew replied. As Edith was taken away to start her exile, Matthew's team locked down the house and geared up for social services arrival. Emma and Marcus woke up to an empty house. Their mother vanished, and their lives forever changed, but they were safe. Operation complete. Victor Knight was sentenced to life in federal prison. Ashley was staring down decades in prison. Edith was permanently eliminated as a danger to innocent children. Matthew burst outside into the morning sunlight, the weight of the past week pressing down on him. Justice was served, but at a steep price. His marriage crumbled, trust in humanity shattered, and his son left traumatized by horrors no child should face. In the end, Peter was safe, and that was all that counted. Peter's calling from Montana. His phone's ringing. Dad, when are you picking me up? Missing you. Coming up, son. Coming up fast. Ready to come home? Absolutely. But Dad, will everything be okay now? Matthew glanced back at the house, knowing 2 children would soon awaken to a fresh start. Liberated from the mother who had tormented them, he pictured Victor Knight in a federal detention cell, likely still clueless about how completely he had been outsmarted. He envisioned Ashley in an interrogation room, grasping the full weight of her betrayal. Absolutely, Peter. He finally replied, everything's going to be just fine now. The reckoning is done. Chapter 9. 3 months post-warehouse showdown, Ethan Carter found himself in the visiting room of the Federal Correctional Institution in Florence, Colorado. On the other side of the reinforced glass sat Clayton Mathis. The once formidable predator now appeared haggard, his polished look gone, replaced by the pallor of a man who learned that federal prison had its own harsh realities. "I have to admit," Clayton said over the phone, "I underestimated you completely." Matthew scrutinized the man who orchestrated his demise with chilling precision. "You assumed everyone else was following your rules, and that was your mistake. How'd you figure that out? Right from the start, I mean, when did you figure out what Ashley was up to?" Matthew admitted he didn't at first. Ashley excelled in her role. When Peter came home, beaten and terrified, rambling about people who knew our address, my instincts kicked in. From there on, it was all about chasing the evidence. Clayton leaned in, eyes sparkling with curiosity. "How did we overlook the military background? You looked into Ethan Carter, the construction company owner, not the former Army Ranger. My service records were buried so deep that standard background checks couldn't touch them. And your team, those men I fought alongside, who owed me their lives just as I owed mine to them. We faced the worst together, Clayton. Your operation was just another mission, quick and straightforward." Clayton paused, then finally blurted out the question that had clearly been weighing on his mind. "Why didn't you just finish me off? You had all the reasons and chances you needed." Matthew pondered the question intently. "That I'm not you. I don't kill for fun or ease. Justice demands you confront the consequences of your actions to stop future victims. Life in federal prison feels like a death sentence." "Absolutely. Each morning in that cell, you'll recall the families you shattered. A slow punishment beats a quick death any day." Through the glass, Matthew noticed prison was already chipping away at Clayton's spirit. The supreme confidence that once defined him as a predator vanished, leaving behind the hollow gaze of a man who had finally encountered his equal. "What's up with Ashley?" Clayton inquired. 25 years, eligible for parole in 15, if she keeps cooperating with federal investigations into your network. She's assisting authorities in finding and compensating the families of the victims. So, she'll get out eventually? Matthew's face turned steely. "She'll be out at 53, if she makes it that far. Prison isn't forgiving for women who aid in their husbands' murders." It was obvious. Ashley's cooperation could lead to a lighter sentence, but it wouldn't shield her from the brutal fate that awaited child killers and spouse murderers in federal prison. "Your sister-in-law?" Edith embraces a fresh identity and a vibrant new life, free from the chance to hurt anyone. Her children are flourishing with an adoptive family that truly offers love and stability. Clayton took in the information and fired off the question Matthew had anticipated. "What about Peter? How's your son handling all this?" Matthew's voice dipped a notch. "Kids bounce back. Peter realizes his mother made poor choices, and that adults can let down those who rely on them. He knows his father will always have his back, no matter what it takes. Is he aware of what you did? He understands that dangerous people targeted our family, and his father took them out. When he's older, I'll share the entire story. He'll get why it had to happen." Clayton reclined in his chair, eyeing Matthew with fresh admiration. "If things had gone another way, we could have been allies. We can both unleash chaos when the moment calls for it." "No," Matthew shot back, firm and decisive. "We're totally different. Kill for profit, thrill and excitement. I fight fiercely to safeguard the innocent. That difference changes everything." Clayton pressed on, digging into the details of the operation that had brought him down. Matthew tackled some questions head-on while dodging others. It became clear. Clayton was grappling with how someone he once saw as prey had completely flipped the script. As the visit wrapped up, Clayton shot one last question. "Do you have any regrets about it? Deception, violence, destruction. So many lives shattered." Matthew rose to leave but spun around to confront the man who had plotted to kill his family. "I'm sorry it had to happen. Ashley picked betrayal instead of loyalty, and I regret it. It's unfortunate that Peter had to face tough lessons about human nature so early in life. No regrets here. Protecting my family was a must, and stopping you from hurting anyone else? Absolutely worth it. You're treading a fine line, Matthew. Maybe. It's my line, and I'm good with being on this side of it." Matthew exited the prison and sped home to the house he now shared solely with Peter. Ashley's things were gone. Donated to charity, her photos stripped from the walls, every hint of her betrayal wiped clean from their home. It hurt, but it was essential, like cleaning a wound to stop infection. Peter waited in the living room as Matthew arrived, focused on homework at the kitchen table at 11. He stood taller and carried a more serious demeanor. The trauma of the past year was countered by therapy and the unwavering security of his father's protection. "How'd it go, Dad?" Peter asked, eyes glued to his math problems. "It went great." Clayton was eager to figure out how he lost. "Did you let him know?" "I said that's enough." Peter wrapped up his homework and jumped onto the couch with Matthew. Every evening, they engaged in a ritual of discussing the day's events, a practice that allowed them to navigate the changes in their lives. "Will Mom ever get out of prison?" Peter inquired. Matthew faced the question regularly and had mastered the art of answering it honestly, tailored to the listener's age. "Maybe one day. By then, you'll be an adult living your own life. She can't hurt us anymore. Did she ever truly love us?" This was the toughest question, and Matthew wrestled with it himself. "She loved the idea of us, but not enough to pick us over money and thrills. True love is all about making sacrifices for those you cherish. Your mother opted to sacrifice us instead." Peter thought it over, then nodded, wise beyond his years, like a child who had to mature too fast. "Thrilled you picked us." "Absolutely, son. Always." That evening, after Peter hit the hay, Matthew dove into financial reports from Wiggins Construction in his study. The company thrived in the months following the crisis, fueled by Matthew's laser-focused intensity. Free from the chaos of a crumbling marriage and Ashley's lies, he seized the opportunity to expand operations and tackle bigger projects. Even more crucial, his team, the guys who helped him take down Clayton's network, had forged an even stronger bond. They had evolved from mere business partners to brothers, bonded by a shared secret war. Jamie Shield Tactical secured the exclusive contract for Wiggins Construction security, while Theodore's firm managed background checks for all new hires. They forged an unprecedented civilian organization, operating with military precision and unwavering loyalty to one another's families. Matthew realized it was likely what Clayton's network could have evolved into if trust had replaced fear. His phone buzzed. Jamie texted, "New client eager to chat about family security. He claims his wife has been acting oddly lately." "That rings a bell." Matthew typed back with a grim smile. "Schedule the meeting. Some lessons require multiple reminders. The battle against predators like Victor Knighty's relentless. Some will always exploit families for profit, targeting children to manipulate their parents, wielding love as a weapon." A network of protectors was primed to respond as Matthew switched off the lights and peeked at his sleeping son one last time. A wave of satisfaction washed over him. This was about justice, not revenge. Clayton was imprisoned for eternity. Ashley would pay for her betrayal during the prime years of her life. Edith would never harm innocent children again. Peter slept soundly in his bed, shielded by a father who showed that some boundaries come with serious consequences. The reckoning wrapped up, but the protection lasted forever. Ultimately, that was everything that counted. And so, our story reaches its conclusion. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Appreciate your time. Love this story? Hit that subscribe button now. Hit the video on your screen, and I'll catch you there.